put this on season 4, episode 35, where we watch 90 Day Fiancé : The Other Way, season 1, episode 1. I'm Chris Lorenz.
I'm Brian Houston.
Robert Kitts.
My name is Max Imam Sentence for burglary.
Oh, you told me you didn't like your name. You tricked me.
There you go.
There was no burglar in this episode.
I don't know about that one.
My future
get to
time.
that.
All right.
90 Day Fiancé The Other Way. Would you like a show description?
Well, I was going to say that welcome back to Doppelganger Month.
We're back.
Doppelganger.
So this is spin-offs of shows we've already done.
What show is this a spin-off of?
Some sort of 90 Day Fiancé, no colon,
The OG.
the OG.
Season 1 show for us.
Oh, was
Way
it that
back.
long ago?
It's a long time.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend listening to that one. So it's a tough one.
Are you saying we've grown, Chris?
Our mics have gotten a lot better since season 1.
Absolutely, yes.
And the rating system has evolved since then.
Oh, yeah. Max, give us a show description.
90 Day Fiancé The Other Way. How far would you go for love? Fans of 90 Day Fiancé have seen love-struck foreigners make the big adjustment of moving to America. And now they get to follow hopeful couples where it's the American moving abroad. That's 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way on TLC.
All right. So essentially what happens in this episode is they introduce
Four
Americans one by one, and they go over their current relationship with somebody that is either with them but lives in another country, or just straight up isn't with them and lives in another country. So they're all prepping to move to another country and presumably get married. Some closer, more like to talk about on that front or the other. So there isn't a whole lot of plot, like overarching plot. It's definitely like a slice of life of these people right now.
Right. This is the slice. This is the pre-move from their country slice of life. So you get a sense of what the giving up is.
Yeah. So they're like, we're definitely it's going to be a minutia heavy show for sure.
Oh, for sure.
So let's start this out by like one of the most weird things I think about this show. Not weird, but like an interesting aspect is it starts out with this season on.
Yeah.
Which is so if you've watched enough of these, which we have, the first episode always ends with this season on, which is a bunch of clips to get you to watch the next episode.
But it makes sense that it's the first thing you see. You know, they want to lock people in. And
Here's the thing. Everybody knows it's going to be a lock because Americans can't travel abroad.
it's true.
What kind of statement is that?
Very generalized one that burns everybody.
Including you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like really weird. I didn't like it. I didn't know any of these people. I was like, why do I care? Like, I don't like it.
Just showing you all the drama.
But I like the end of the episode where I'm like, oh, I got a nice intro, and then we get to see like the continuation of the story.
I actually wonder if there's 6 couples in the season.
Oh.
But we only get introed to 4 in this episode. So I wonder if they want to put randos you haven't seen at the end of the episode. So that's why they put it off the front of the episode.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought there was.
This was also,
4.
I believe, the infamous 2-hour premiere that they split into 2 episodes. We only watched episode 1. So I think if you watched the whole thing, you got to see the other 2 at the end of it. Now, back when we did 90 Day Fiancé, actually, I don't remember who did, but I watched the whole season of 90 Day Fiancé we saw, and it was the same thing. They introed 4 in the first episode. Then the second
There were 2
episode
more, yeah.
had 4, but it was 2 repeats and 2 new ones, and then they would mix the 6 throughout the season and stuff.
That makes sense.
And the most hilarious guy was in the second episode. He didn't get introduced till then.
Interesting.
If they saved anybody with the second episode, who buddy?
Yeah, okay, so
Is it time to get into it?
I think we got to get into
All right,
it.
let's
There's 4 couples, and each and every one of them is a beautiful, glistening trash fire, dumpster fire, in just like all sorts of fun ways.
Max's quote during the episode was, "This is a primo dumpster fire."
Take it away, Chris.
But it's true that like they're all unique snowflakes of different kind of dumpster fires. Like no two are the same.
Not even close.
Not
Yeah.
even close.
Not even close to the same thing. All right, so we got first person introduced was Jenny. She is 60, lives in Palm Springs, and she's moving to India to meet to live with.
Michael Sharon or something.
Michael Jones.
I
Michael
forget.
Jones.
I didn't write down what the catfish name was. Which we
Michael
have to go-
Jones was the catfish
Okay.
name.
Well, she's really going
Spoiler
to
alert.
move in with Summit,
Summit.
which is he's 30 and lives in India.
He
Which-
works at a call center.
But they started introducing, she met this guy Michael online, and we're all just like, oh my gosh, just sounds like straight out of Catfish. And then she's like, little did I know, I had to tell my daughter, guess what? He catfished me because it's not his name and it's not his photo.
Tell me the history of their relationship, Rob.
I don't know if I remember.
They-
like,
It started with a Facebook friends
oh,
request.
that's right.
The classic dating.
That's really what
tool.
put us on the Catfish scent immediately, was like some rando Facebook friended me.
I have a question. Has anybody accepted any random Facebook friend requests that you've gotten? Because I know you've gotten them.
No.
No.
No,
Never.
they definitely
Yeah.
seem like they're like plays for scams.
Or I may have done it once just to see what's the scam here.
I mean, usually they have like no friends.
Or they have like a bajillion, but they're all from like Malaysia and all over the place.
Or just other people that
Yeah.
just accept people's friends.
They-
over-
I mean,
just-
I saw one that had like 500 friends, and they'd all become friends in the last 24 hours.
There
and I
you
was
go.
like, I'm gonna pass.
Yeah. She starts talking to this guy who has pictures that sure look like just like a model, and then he says, "I'm falling in love with you." Also, my name's Summit.
this is like the one relationship where we got zero of the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we got on the next time on was some clips of him, but with his friends, I think. But like
yeah.
that was it.
Yeah.
That's the only time we ever got any information about that guy.
Yeah. This season on had a clip of him, though it actually looked pretty good. But
So
in this episode, he was just a couple still photos that looked like they were taken off Facebook.
Jenny is moving, leaving her like 3 children behind.
No, 3 daughters, 4 grandchildren. Sorry, you were right.
She lives with her daughter. She thought she was in love once, but then found out 15 years later it was not love because he left her for someone else.
I
And she never thought she'd find love again, and then she got catfished, and now she's moving to India.
I just
every step of this is so painful. She goes to a financial advisor.
Oh yeah, we got to get into
oh
this.
yeah.
And he's like, how old are you? How old is he? Oh, you're moving to India? That's cool. You have a 401k. Nice. How much money do you have to your name that you need to last for the rest of your life? Oh, $6,000? I don't think that's going to cut it.
There were some great facial reactions from this financial advisor.
He's wonderful.
I'm so glad he signed the waiver to appear on the
oh,
show.
yeah.
There was also some scene where she gets her visa in the mail.
Oh yeah. Well, I think she's getting her passport back, and there's like a visa stamp in it or something.
So like so most of us, I mean, all of us have been to India. And we've
Yeah.
gotten our like travel visa.
Yeah.
You can print it out.
Yeah, which is not this process at all from what we did. But is she getting a different visa? Is she getting like the 90-day fiance visa in India?
Like, I assume she's trying to get not a tourist visa, a more permanent kind of visa. I don't know the details of the Indian
But then it's going to be
visas.
lasting longer than 90 days. This is terrible.
Unbelievable. How dare they?
It's very like this is one of the things that confuses me about the show is like, okay, so these people can't get a visa to come to the US or don't want to live in the US. But when you get a visa outside, like if you're going to India to like marry somebody, like I have no idea what that process is. Is there like is that easy? Is that hard? Like I have no idea.
That'd actually be an interesting thing to like for the show to include is like, tell me about this visa process. And maybe they don't think that's not the slice of life melodrama thing they're going for, but like I would be very interested.
I
in
need that
knowing
like
about that.
1-page blurb to be like, okay, to get this they're trying to get this kind of visa. These are the requirements, and like, whatever.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's all I need. I need
That'd
like
be-
a 5-second blurb. That's all I need.
Yeah, it's just like you put the text up on the screen while they're talking about arrests and stuff like that.
So I agree. Somebody else on the show goes a little bit into like some more visa minutia. South Africa guy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
Anything more about Jenny?
Well, one thing I think it's a good time to say. So one thing about 90 Day Fiance was that it starts with the person in the U.S. and the other person comes, and there's very much a sense of there's like they're the foreign person coming here. You don't know as much about them and stuff like that. And this one is the same way. It starts with the person in the U.S. who's going to go over there. But it's interesting to see more of the, hey, this is my current life I'm giving up to go there, that 90 Day Fiancé doesn't really do because it's still got the U.S.-centric focus on it.
Truly, if it were 90 Day Fiancé the other way, it should start off with the other person, with the American arriving.
Exactly. Like if they were trying to follow the model, it would start with, hey, so I catfished this 60-year-old woman and she's coming.
I mean, that is something to talk about here, I think.
Yeah.
So like you're an Indian and you're working at a call center and you're trying to catfish lots of people, and this one woman, like, you catch this woman. Like, what is what's going through your mind? You're like, oh man, do I tell her my real name because I really like her? Like, what is going on here? Like, she doesn't have money.
Yeah, without we haven't met this guy. It's hard to say, but
What do you mean? What's going on here? It's true love.
Welcome, Bachelor.
This was a thing in 90 Day Fiance of there's a lot of what are the motivations of the people here, and everything seemed like the Americans have such pure for love motivations, but what are these other people's motivations? And it's the same thing here of what is this other guy's motivation? Because what's her name seems like she's just all in and in love, but we haven't even met this guy yet. We don't know anything about him really, other than he does catfishing.
And he's got game.
I got it. It's a very long con.
Ooh.
Summit really wanted to be on 90 Day Fiance.
Well, Brian, you said he's got game. I'm not sure how much game you need to do to ensnare a 60-year-old woman that's really wants love.
Yo, but we got some juicy texts from them.
Oh, it's true.
Oh my god.
So one of his texts was,
Brian.
"Do you have a map? Because I keep getting lost in your eyes." And mind you, this is over text. It's not like a FaceTime thing. It's over text. And then
true.
she's laughed and "Oh, you're such a player."
And then he responds, "Yeah, I love playing cricket."
Went by too fast for me to write down. Thanks, Brian. that was great.
That was wonderful. Yes.
Also, I feel like there's something wrong with this. This is the absolute dumpster fire. This is. She's leaving her 3 daughters and 4 grandchildren. What is wrong with you?
With her $6,000 that the guy says that'll probably last 6 to 9 months. She's like, what?
Oh, she also discovers she can't have Social Security while abroad.
Oh yeah.
Fuck. That was mind blowing.
That was she said, "Can I get Social Security?" He's like, "If you give up your citizenship, you can't."
Yeah.
And at first I was like, well, just because she's moving abroad doesn't mean she's giving up her citizenship. But then she seemed like, oh, I'm definitely giving up my citizenship. It's I guess that's
Don't
part of
do
her
that.
thing.
You can never come back and visit your daughters.
I mean, you gotta get a visa to come back. Get that
That's
90
just
Day
not gonna.
Fiance
It's not
visa.
gonna happen.
If you were a TSA agent and that lady shows up with her Indian passport, what would you be thinking?
I mean, that's sexist, Max.
It is sexist. It's true. Anything
Yeah.
more on her?
I don't know.
I
There's
mean, that's how that
something
one
wrong with
ended.
her.
There's so much more to come.
There wasn't a whole lot with her after the beginning, but
The financial advisor thing was really the highlight of her bit this episode.
I think this might be the worst of the 4 we've seen.
I think so too. I think that we will get into. Let's get into that later. Let's go over the rest. Of the
Yeah.
people. So we got Jenny. We've got Tiffany.
Oh, yeah.
She's 27. She lives in Maryland. She's an 8-year-old son.
And a 3-year-old sister.
Yes.
She's going to marry Ronald in South Africa.
Sure.
In 2 weeks from the start of the show.
Yeah.
Tiffany seems like a sweet girl with a relatively okay head on her shoulders, except
Except,
Yeah, so she went on a trip to South Africa and met Ronald, and like they quote unquote fell in love, and now she's moving there and getting married.
Yeah.
She went back. She said she went back twice. Unclear how many times they've actually met each other,
right.
but they proposed the second time. So,
Which
well,
is crazy. But
yeah. I mean, of all the places to move, I think South Africa is probably like, from what I
Yeah.
hear, is somewhat reasonable to move to.
Yeah, now. South Africa had like a bad run. I think now it's
yeah.
decent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just comparing it to the other places people are moving to, as like a white male or woman. Like,
As an American, this is not a third world country.
Right.
yeah,
This is not
Brazil's not.
Brazil is not third world, but it does have pockets of
It depends where in Brazil you're
Yeah.
going. And I'm not sure where in Brazil they're going. But
So the dumpster fire of this relationship is that Ronald is in rehab for his gambling addiction.
Tell me about his gambling addiction. What does he do?
So he would steal his mom's stuff and pawn it for money, for gambling money.
Oh yeah.
And so she would go away, come back, and be gone. Everything would be gone. She said that he said the house was empty.
She turned her own son in.
I would too.
I would too.
Screw that guy.
Yeah. He's currently at Jesus camp for gambling. And
so it's just gambling rehab and not also drug rehab? That wasn't clear to me.
I don't
Was there
think
drugs involved?
There was a drinking and driving.
There was drinking and
Oh.
driving. Like, he, I think,
I don't
has...
think there was drugs. Though.
I think it's a cornucopia of run-ins with the law with this guy. It's not just about gambling.
Yeah.
There's also
He just
gambling,
frames it as
stealing.
gambling.
Yeah.
Perhaps that is his worst.
So like there was like 3 months ago they had this like video conversation.
7 months.
7
ago.
months with Ronald, and he's like, "Yeah, I just like I'm 1 month clean from gambling, or something. 6 months clean or something. So clean from gambling."
It was. I think it was like a couple months, and then it's like that's 7 months ago. Then it shows like screenshots 6 months ago. He's been checked into rehab for gambling. It's like he's not clean anymore.
So he's there for 6 months. He's getting out 8 days before the wedding.
Yeah. And he can't come to the U.S. because of his many felonies.
Are they felonies or just arrests?
I don't know.
Is there a difference in South Africa? Like, is there like a state government level arrest versus a federal government arrest? Like,
I'm
I'm not an expert in, South African.
Where's Noah? We need him in that corner. Yeah, I mean, so she's also leaving, 2 sisters and her mom behind.
Bringing her kid.
And she's bringing her kid, which is,
I mean,
that's a big move.
This is the one where like the dumpster fire is a little less funny because there's like a kid in the middle of this.
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that we'll have to compare after we get told.
Yeah.
I think it's
We're talking about the kid. We got to talk about this birth story.
Oh my God.
So she says she
She's
gets
27.
pregnant.
Oh yeah.
This is when she's 18. She doesn't know she's pregnant. She's still getting periods. She never got morning sick. One day she gets these crazy cramps, goes to the hospital, and they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna have a baby in the next hour." And then 15 minutes later, her son was born. That's so insane.
There's a show about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
We didn't do it yet.
Maybe we gotta do it.
I didn't know I was pregnant. That's
Yeah.
a tie-in show?
Is that also on TLC? Because that'd be a hell of a crossover.
I think so.
It probably is. Was she on that show?
If this is the next MTV, I'm loving it.
Oh my God.
No thanks.
Oh man.
So yeah, that's nuts.
That's nuts. And then we don't get the backstory, but like she's 27. She has a sister that's 3, so her son's aunt is 5 years younger than him. And then the other sister, we were debating how old she was. I went with 17. There were different things, but this is just an all over the place.
Yeah.
I want a backstory episode just on this mom and what's
I don't
been
know if I
going
need
on.
a whole episode, but like
it's a
little,
very cross-generational family.
I don't know. Are they same dads? Are they all different dads? What's the? I want to know.
We'll
I want
never
to know
know.
all the
Yeah.
details.
Yeah.
tweet at them. Find out. All right, so
I'll get Noah to tweet at them.
So
Who else we got?
We got Corey.
Corey, yeah.
Yeah. So he's 32.
He's from Mill A, Washington.
He's moving to Ecuador for Evelyn,
Yep.
who is 26 years old.
Yeah.
He lives in a compound.
Tell me about this.
First, tell me about Mill A, Washington, Max.
Mill A, Washington. I mean, there's really. It's one of the smallest things I've ever seen on Google Maps, if I'm going to be honest.
It's middle of nowhere, Washington.
Have you seen my hometown on Google Maps?
This is probably smaller.
I don't know. We'll have to do a comparison after the show. Yeah. So he's on a trip to Peru, and he runs into Evelyn, and
They side quest to Ecuador on their trip to Peru.
side quest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she convinces him to go to her hometown on this trip.
Yeah.
And like he's like frat broing it out. They have videos of this trip that they show, which is
He had like
video
a GoPro
diary. Because he just looks like he's like some kind of surfer guy. And it's interesting, like on the trip, his hair has got like these blonde highlights and is very surfer bro. And then in present day in Mille, Washington, there's no life in his hair or his face or anything about him.
he seems really stressed out.
Yeah.
We'll get to why he's stressed out.
Yeah.
He might be stressed out with very good reason.
Yeah. They fall in love, whatever. Evelyn comes to the U.S. for 6 months to live in Mill A, Washington.
And she doesn't like it. Shocking. Shocking.
It's like, Corey keeps talking about it. I can't believe she didn't like America. It's like, did she not like the U.S. or did she not like Mill A? Maybe if she went to Mill B, it would have been a little different.
So you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, Washington. You don't have a car.
No.
You're just stuck in this Mormon compound. Like, I'm not going to like that either. Like, you're stuck with all these people that don't know your native language. Like, what are you going to do? You're just going to be watching, like, Portuguese, like, Netflix or something. Like, I don't even know.
Portuguese Netflix.
Oh, I figured out why it's called Mill A.
Okay.
Because in the Mill A, nowhere.
Woo! Thank you. Good night.
One of the reasons Evelyn says that she likes Corey is that he's fun and yummy. No explanation on that at all.
We got a little bit of explanation later.
Is that a sexual thing?
No, we know what she likes about Corey. We got to get to that.
Okay. We know. So we find out that Corey has spent a lot of money on Evelyn. So like initially they show Corey and Evelyn going shopping for gifts for her whole family.
Yeah.
And spends about $800 on gifts.
Yeah.
And then it runs into this fact that Corey has spent $30,000.
40.
No, $30,000 on properties.
Yep.
And $6,000 for a car, and $2,000 for a bar.
When you started talking about investing in a cocktail bar, I was like, oh Corey. This is no.
But at least like he's going there. Could you imagine if like he just sent in this money and he's not going there?
He didn't want to go there. He thought she was going to come and live in the U.S. and they were just going to stay there.
I don't think that these investments are like post wanting to live in
I
Ecuador.
really think she wants to go back. And he's partly a sunk cost of like, man, I got all this money in Ecuador. I guess I got to go.
But like,
if he didn't have all this money, I think he'd be out.
I don't know, dude. So like, okay, I'm going to take a step back here. And
He does not seem happy with any of this situation.
We'll get into that. I just want to get into this right now. Is like, if I could spend $2,000 and own a bar in Ecuador and just go down there, run this bar in Ecuador and like live on the beach, like, that sounds pretty good. Like,
I mean, that does sound pretty
like I'm not like hating life at that point.
But
and like he's got a bunch of rental properties, so like he doesn't even have to really run that bar. Like if he spent $40,000 and got like livable income going on in Ecuador, I don't see a problem with this.
This is the thing. I totally agree with you. Does he actually have spent this money and have livable income, or is it all gone? That bar is closed because of mismanagement.
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
These rental properties got foreclosed. Like, it just does not.
No,
seem
it's
good.
very shady. Like I'm just spending $30,000. I'm like, I'm going to spend the $2,000 to go down there and be like, okay, we're buying this. What is the rent like? Like that's stuff I would go down and do. But like, Who knows what he did? I doubt that.
Did they even spend the money on this stuff they told them to? Like, it could be 100% scam.
Oh, it could
definitely
be.
not. There's probably so many clothes.
Yeah, like nothing about what we saw from Evelyn so far points to she actually likes him and not she's using him for his money. Now that's not necessarily means that is the case, but like we have no counter evidence yet.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
She thinks he's fun and yummy.
Yeah, he thinks his wallet is fun and yummy.
I mean, you're not wrong. I agree with you. I just like I don't think he's like making a super big mistake here. Like it could work out.
If everything went into a
I
plan.
mean, he's making a mistake, but like it could work out.
It could work out.
As opposed to Miss India Lady, like
Sure.
That's not working out.
like that's not working out.
So let's go through all of them, and then I think we want to like talk about
Well,
like
we
which
gotta
one's the
we
worst
got one
situation.
more. We got one more.
Well, we
Yeah.
got to talk about this whole religion thing.
Oh my god.
So Corey is a Mormon.
Yep.
And the whole family's Mormon. So now Evelyn is stuck in the middle of nowhere, Washington, in a Mormon compound. And she goes to this dinner with with the parents during the show, and it's like she hates Mormons. She's like, Mormons are a cult, and she's like saying this flat out to their face.
It's a very weird scene because she is simply parroting what her minister said.
But she's been there for 6 months.
I know. I'm
It's
just
very
saying, like,
weird.
she's saying to these Mormons to their face, yeah, my minister said you guys are a cult and you guys worship the devil, but I think you guys are fine.
It's
It's
yeah.
just very odd.
So they get into this conversation of like, hey, would you ever be Mormon? Which we looked it up. There is some Mormon churches in Ecuador. So like possibility. But she says never. She is adamantly opposed to being Mormon, which I don't really see Corey convincing her to be Mormon. And then the second question for me is, so they asked about kids, and Evelyn does not want kids, and Corey wants kids. Is that not a deal breaker, like almost like right off the bat?
You'd think so.
Like in a normal relationship, you're like, okay, it's been like, reasonable 6 months or something. And if like you don't want kids and I want kids, like at some point it's just got to end.
Well, in a normal relationship, I can see a thing being like, if you're not dead set, you're like, well, maybe we're not right. But there's a point where you got to decide
Yeah.
either one of us is compromising or this is not going to work. When you're going to Ecuador to get married in like 4 weeks, that's the point. You gotta be in the
I think you got to do that before you send them $30,000 for properties.
yeah. Also before you send $30,000 to invest in random Ecuadorian real estate.
I just like, it's hard to spend $40,000 on a girl in the U.S., never mind in Ecuador.
I mean, it's
baffled.
You could easily spend, 10, 20 times that on like a house.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about property. We're not saying like,
Yeah.
oh, I bought you a nice like outfit. Like
I bought you a nice house.
Do you know what houses in Seattle cost, Max?
I do.
So then we got our last person we introduced in this episode, which you got Paul. He's 34. He lives in Louisville, Kentucky. He is dating Creanie from Brazil, and they met on a dating app.
And he's actually a returning fiance.
Yeah, so explain this, Max, because we didn't really get into it.
He was previously on another 90-day spinoff called Before the 90 Days.
Which we might have to do. We have not done it yet.
Some
Double
sort of
doppelganger.
triple ganger. Yeah, so they have obviously all these clips from when these two were dating, and they've been married and they divorced. Maybe I don't know.
No, they never divorced.
They never divorced. Divorce was on the table.
Divorce was on the table. It seems like a whole mess, but anyway, he's a returning fiance, as is Carini.
So I'm calling some BS. They're not fiancés. They're married. This is 90-day fiance. Colon.
So okay, let me rebuttal this.
Okay.
Would you agree that before the 90 days, they were 90-day fiancés? Or they were fiancés at the very least?
I guess the whole 90-day thing doesn't apply anymore. But they were fiancés.
Sure. So this is a continuation of the 90 days this is a sequel.
This is sequel to the
guess.
other 90 Day show.
This is very confusing because like they're showing their sort of relationship, and at first we're like, is this like a reenactment? And then we're like, what is that? They were like, they were clearly on some other reality show.
Yeah.
And they didn't even tee it up at all.
They didn't tee it up at all. And then Max luckily went to the internet corner and figured out what was going on. But we're just like, this is definitely some other reality show. Because like there's video of them meeting, there's video of them communicating through an app on their phone because they don't speak each other's language. It's like, where's this footage coming from?
It was very weird. Because, like, in those clips, like, we find out that he went to jail for arson for his, like, ex-girlfriend. And you're like, whoa, what? What? That's fucking nuts.
So much detail just like flying at us.
Yeah, like, they just flew in through all. Like, what? That's, like, a big thing. They were all talking. They were, like, and then they had, like, a miscarriage on this other show, too.
So they get married, they're going to get divorced, then they get pregnant, so decide not to get divorced, then there's a miscarriage, then he goes back to the U.S., then she's pregnant again, then he's on a talk show where he's like, I need a paternity test.
Was that talk show real or fake?
It might have just been the 90 Day
I think it was-
Fiancé, not 90 Day
I think it might
Fiancé
have-
reunion show.
Definitely the reunion show.
I agree
Oh.
I agree with these guys.
But it looked like a talk show.
This does not look like a healthy relationship.
Not at all.
No.
And so now she's 27 weeks pregnant with his kid, and so he's going to go back to Brazil.
Yep.
It,
It's just a disaster.
such a dumpster fire, to quote Max.
Yeah.
I mean, so, like,
We didn't get that much out of them this episode, I feel.
but, like, we got a lot of fast-moving clips, so we got a lot.
We got the recap.
That's
We
true.
got, like, it was like
We
a
just went
recap.
through a lot. We just went, like, obviously this was a whole season of 90 Day before the 90 days that we got in 10 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah. It's unclear how this relationship really works. Like
Right.
today. We got a lot of like past. We never really got like too much about how they met. Actually, a lot of these couples we didn't. Like this one they mentioned they met on a dating app. What dating app was this? Like, is there a dating app to meet like hot Brazilian chicks from Louisville? Like, what the hell? What dating app is this?
The way Chris said that is like, send Chris the info.
Well, actually, no, I have the info on this. He was on this Chinese show called If You Are the One, and he was recommended by a dating app.
You mean the Australian version of a Chinese show not
the-
called Are You If You Are the One?
The Brazilian version of the Chinese version of the Australian version.
Well, the Australian version is literally. Oh, never mind.
Moving on.
Like the Corey, we never really found out how they met. Oh, we did. Most people met like in person in the foreign countries.
Yeah.
Well, there was one person met because he got catfished on Facebook. Corey met on his vacation side quest.
Tiffany met on vacation,
Tiffany met on vacation.
and then Paul was via dating app.
Paul via mysterious dating app.
Hot Brazilian dating app.
Brazilian dating app.
That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah.
That's like the whole episode. Like there wasn't like the after the introduction, they kept like kind of going back to other people. It was just like not interesting, other than the vignette of going to the financial advisor. And then there was like a wedding dress shopping vignette.
There was wedding dress shopping for Tiffany.
Tiffany, yeah.
Yeah. And it's also interesting, like, Corey, like, was just telling his family that Evelyn was going back to Ecuador. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go for a couple weeks, see what happened. And it, like, cuts to a confessional of, like, my family doesn't know I'm moving to Ecuador.
Does the family know that he spent $40,000 on Ecuador?
I wonder what they know, what they don't. Also, does that dad have more than one wife or no? Do we establish
think
this?
so.
Mormons, by and large, like 99% do not
But
practice
Mormons on reality TV shows.
polygamy. In compounds.
In compounds.
The compounds thing only, I think, gives you like the 1%. If they were just in like 99.99% of Mormons, or even more, are just normal people
But
that don't drink.
The ones on reality TV, I think, are far more likely.
Yeah, but they're not on reality TV.
They're-
His son is on reality
I
TV.
mean, they're by proxy. I saw their faces on a reality TV show, and I saw little captions with their names on them. So it's Gary and I don't remember.
Here's a question: Is there anybody good who lives in a compound? You say compound, I think like Osama bin Laden.
I feel like hippies on a compound. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with them.
you say compound, I think hippie, which
Oh, interesting. I think of
are
a commune.
hippies good? That's a different question.
I think of a commune for that.
Well, that's fair.
That's fair.
Like, I don't know. Like, a compound seems like a military
Yeah.
thing.
It seems harsh no matter what. Like I don't really think of positive compounds.
I don't know.
Like also maybe prison.
Like,
Sure.
what is this compound? Is it like a bunch of houses like in a development, or is it like
Well,
them really close to each other, far apart? Like,
Define development, because they just live in the middle of the woods. I think it's just a section of the woods where there's a bunch of different houses, and everyone in that house is related.
Do you
And
think
those
there's a
different houses
gate?
are related.
Do you think
Oh, want to play a game?
yeah, I don't know. It's very odd to me. So comparing the four families,
Yeah.
what is our ranking of dumpster fires here? I think that this is a good conversation.
Oh my god.
I would
one
like
is
to
you-
take a stab.
Okay.
I'm going to go from best situation to worst situation.
Okay.
Best situation, I think her name's Tiffany and Ronald.
Yeah.
Just, seems...
If there wasn't the kid involved, I think it's definitely the kid makes me a little
Well,
queasy about it.
let's get him through his ranking, and then we can.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Second one, fuck, they're all so awful. I think second least bad might be Jenny, actually, because
The catfish?
what's the worst case here? She goes to India. She just, it's a fucking awful experience, and she runs out of her $6,000 in 6 months. She flies back home. Her kids get her a ticket, and she flies back home. And that is what it is. Next worst is probably going to be Corey, because the worst case here is he's out $40,000. And
I mean, by the end of it, he'll be out $80,000, but
He does
and-
not have $80,000.
And my winner for just dumpster fire of a situation is Karini and what's his face, Paul. Just like not a good situation, and there's a baby on the way. Like this is sort of where I don't want that kid to grow up without a dad, but that's definitely what's about to happen.
I don't know. So I disagree.
Okay,
I think that Paul is in the best situation.
he went to jail for arson, and
They're already
violating,
through all this bullshit. They've gone through all.
and he violated a restraining order.
I mean, like that's regardless of the situation he's in right now.
Okay.
He's married to this woman. He's already known. He's already been to Brazil.
Sure.
He knows what he's getting into. He knows. Like he's making the step in a full blown knowledge of what's going to happen and what's going on. Like
That's fair.
that's why I think he has the best situation. Then I think you've got Tiffany. I think the kid definitely lowers this.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's one thing to be like, I can handle it. There's something to be like your 8-year-old kid. If he can't handle it, like, you're going to be so devastated.
Yeah.
That's just going to be really hard.
I think before I got married in South Africa, I would like bring the kid with me and say like, "Hey, come with me to South Africa. We're going on a trip." And if he says, "I love it," then great.
I just don't think these people have money to be doing all like stuff like that. Anyway, then I think Jenny is below that. I think that she have a rude awakening. She's been like the catfishing thing, moving to India. Like I can't imagine her giving up her citizenship, but like there's something weird going on with the visa citizenship thing that I'm like unaware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And you're ending
Yeah.
up in India. You are not prepared to be in India if you've never been to India. So that's going to be a rude awakening. But I think the worst is definitely Corey. going to Ecuador, spending $40,000, and he's going to live in third world Ecuador. Like, I have no idea where in India this person's moving to, but like, there's like nice-ish parts of India. But like, we saw the town in Ecuador.
Yeah,
Not
this is
a
not
great
the
place.
best part of
Not
Ecuador.
a good part of Ecuador.
There's nice stuff in Ecuador. This is not a nice part of Ecuador.
Yeah, I don't mean to diminish India or Ecuador at this point, but like, we saw the Ecuadorian village. But he's been there, so he knows what he's getting into. But
The real thing with Corey that separates him from everyone else is everyone else seems to think, or at least the impression I get from Corey is already out on the relationshipy part and is just like, oh my God, I'm trapped. I have no choice.
He doesn't say that.
He doesn't say it with his mouth,
But
he
you
says
can-
it with his eyes.
You can read it on his face like, fuck.
And he definitely says, like, I've already all my money is in Ecuador, so I guess I gotta go. And I'm like, that's not what you say when you're like, oh, I found this woman I love and I'm gonna move to Ecuador because of it. Like, Jenny might be setting herself up for a rude awakening, but at least she's kind of going in with good intentions. I feel like Corey's already like doing it for the wrong reasons.
Oh, yeah.
all right,
And
so what's
on these love shows, it's all about doing it for the right reasons.
what's your ranking, Rob?
My ranking. It was interesting that basically Max and Chris had the same ranking except for Paul. Paul
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
all over the place. I don't know. They're all terrible.
That's great.
Corey's at the bottom. I think Corey's the worst scenario. I don't know, what do we think about the South African guy? All his like criminal activity.
I
we
mean,
kind of
like-
glossed that over.
Well, I mean, if we watch the other show, I'm sure you can find out all about it. It seemed like he had like remorse about it. He didn't. It seemed like he was like, "I am embarrassed to tell you this because I'm embarrassed about it."
Wait, Paul or the South African guy?
Not South Africa. Sorry, I was thinking.
You're thinking about Paul.
The South African guy. Yeah, that's gonna be.
And like
Maybe I disagree.
he's
You're
also
right.
he's also now very Jesus-y, and
That'll be interesting.
that'll be interesting.
You might be right. Tiffany with the 8-year-old kid moving into this like drug this addict's like.
Addict who's very Jesus-y.
I'm not
and
sure
so,
he
yeah.
was in drugs. Are you?
We're unclear. He's an addict though.
He's definitely an addict of a type.
Sure.
I don't know if I can put a ranking on this. Do
No.
do I got it? Do I
Yeah,
got
you
it?
got
Okay, wait. Tiffany and Ronald. Top third, middle, bottom.
All four of these people are bottom third. There's no doubt.
There's no stack ranking possible.
Ooh, that would be fun to start stack ranking the characters on this show.
No.
To find my favorite character.
All right, Brian, give us your rankings. If Rob, think of yours.
All right.
Okay, so I think that Jenny is in the best situation, and here's why. I think that like she's going into like a reasonable situation. I think that she can handle being there a little bit on her own, and she could find a job. I think it'll work out a little bit, and Submit probably has his shit together.
Hopefully. He works at a call center. I don't know.
She can get a job there too.
No.
Number 2, I'm going to put Paul. So I think that you're right, Chris, that like it's already out there. Like all the craziness is out. Like I think that's going to be like good to go. They're going to move past it. The third place has got to be Corey, because if the stuff was actually invested well, then maybe there's like a chance. But overall, like it's risky that
He's going to third world Ecuador.
he's just doing everything like for the wrong reasons, and like he's just like, it's sunk cost fallacy. Like I gotta go. But I had to put Tiffany on the bottom because of what Rob said. Like all the criminal stuff, and like he might just relapse again.
Oh,
So,
he's definitely relapsing.
and with a gambling problem and stuff like that, and theft, there's no like stable source of income.
In South Africa, are you allowed to bring an 8-year-old boy to a casino?
No, where's no in the internet corner? Doubtful.
Doubtful. All right. So I'm going to go to the reverse order. So I'm putting Corey in the bottom. I just think that's everything about that situation. I just think is terrible.
Yeah.
Then the third worst, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go with Jenny. I just think this catfish thing. When you start off with catfishing, it's not gonna be good. And
No, dude, it's true love.
I haven't met this other guy yet, and I got bad vibes. So I'm gonna go with that. Then who am I putting second worst?
To be clear, all of these people are in bad situations.
Oh yeah.
So like to say you're in the least worst situation is like it's not saying a whole lot.
It's legitimately so impressive that TLC was able to find 4 people in such weird,
Well,
fucked
6
up
people
situations.
supposedly.
Oh my god!
Really, you think TLC had a hard time with this?
Max, did you notice on the this season one of the 2 we didn't see is someone who's in love with someone from Japan.
I wasn't sure if it was Japan or Korea, but yes,
I thought they said Japan, but maybe I'm being sexist.
wasn't paying attention.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna put Paul second worst, and I guess I'll agree with Max and say, what's her name?
Tiffany?
Tiffany is actually in the best spot, even though it might result in ruining an 8-year-old boy's life.
My hope with the Tiffany situation is that having somebody around will maybe prevent him from.
I think she's kind of in the best spot to abort on the situation.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Our whole lists are very interesting.
Yeah.
Brian is like the reverse of your list. That's the best part. To be clear, like the differences between these are just like probably minute. That like
Sure.
the
Well, you
rate-
got to watch the whole season, see what happens.
Yeah.
Speaking of, should we get to ratings?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to talk about. So
No.
Max, what do you got for me?
This is going to be a top third easily for me. On the top of the top.
Oh, whoa!
No, not. Maybe a bottom of the top. It was.
So from top of the top to the bottom.
No. I said it's not a top of the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't wait to hear more about each dumpster fire, and I will absolutely give like episode 2 and 3 a shot. I don't know if I'll watch the whole season, but I want to learn about each and every one of these. Jesus Christ, I can't.
You can't, but you want. Brian, what do you got for me?
I think I'm also going to put in the top, bottom of the top. Man, these are glorious dumpster fires. What? TLC struck gold again.
Rob, what do you got?
It's got to go in the top. It's just, it's so compelling.
So good.
And I can't, like Max said, I can't believe they found 4, but all I'm thinking is what about the other 2? I want to know.
You know what? I put the circle as bottom of the top. I'm going to move this up to middle of the top.
Oh.
This is why the 9 ranking thing doesn't work well.
It works.
It definitely works.
The system works. He
Believe-
updated his ranking.
Trust the system.
Or you could trust the process.
Gotta trust the process. I'm also gonna put this in the top third, but
Universal top.
I think that I have a little reservation. Like the intro of these people was fine, but then after everything was introed, it kind of went in weird directions and slowed down a lot, and I definitely started checking out a bit. So I don't know. I think it definitely has potential to drop, even though these people are in a dumpster, and I kind of want to know where this dumpster goes and what happens. And
Sure.
So I'm compelled to watch, but I'm not sure the TLC editing is getting me what I want, and I'm sure it's like a 22 episode season. So there's
that's so much.
so long.
It's a lot of content.
So, but it's not just 90. It doesn't have to be 90 days on this one. It can be
Yeah.
any number of times. So I don't know. There's
Is it-
also 6 couples. So
Yeah.
And the thing with the one season of OG 90 Day Fiance, I saw the show kind of evolves as you go. There's a lot of intro stuff figuring out, but once the people were in the US and there's a lot more of a family dynamics, stuff like that, it really kind of changed. So once freaking Corey is living in Ecuador with her family and stuff, it'll be a very different show.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be stuff. And then they're all just asking him for money, and it's
I think, Chris, you've probably watched the most 90 Day among the 4 of
no,
us.
I've watched the most Married at First Sight.
Oh, okay.
I've watched 1 episode of 90 Day Fiance.
Got it.
I guess I've seen the most 90 Day
Yeah.
Fiance because I watched
Harrison-
one season.
Harrison has also watched a bit, but he's not here. I don't know how much he's actually.
He's dead to
watched.
us.
What else have people been watching?
So the show is sponsored by Bud Light Seltzer.
Oh, yeah.
We're all drinking some Bud Light Seltzers.
Yep.
The advertising really got to me. I had to try it.
Give us your ranking. Where's Bud Light Seltzer?
I'm a big hard seltzer fan. So like I really like some White Claws. These are very comparable to White Claws. I would put them in a very similar bucket to White Claw.
What is the demonym for seltzer fans?
Seltzerite.
Bubble Boy.
But like in the Pacific Northwest, we've got San Juan seltzers. Those are my favorite.
Those are probably the best.
They're very carbonated and like it's very good. I would recommend. They have a seltzery.
Ooh.
So I'd recommend if you ever come to Seattle to go to that. It's great. There's a bunch of wineries near it too, so you can definitely make a nice day out of getting drunk. Yeah. What have you been watching, Marcus?
So I watched all of The Circle in about 4 days.
Yeah.
And are you updating your ranking?
No, I'm gonna keep it where it was. I'm not sure I should have spent that much time on the show, but it was a fun format. I don't think I'll watch season 2.
As I was telling Brian, did we get into it last week?
No, we couldn't.
The tone of the show was really fun.
Yeah.
Like the tone was very positive. Everyone was just having fun, talking to each other at this house, and like it was easy to follow without really having to watch the whole thing. So that's what I really liked the show. Like I thought it was good. I just don't think a season 2 you're gonna get the same genuine people. Because as soon as people come in and they're like, well, I'm going to win this thing, so I'm going to like try to be an asshole. Like not be an asshole, but really be polite, but be an asshole. And that would just ruin the whole thing. So like it is all about casting on that show. But I'm sure they're fast tracking season 2.
Got to get Sumit on the show.
Ooh.
That'd be great. What if you were forced to catfish on the circle?
Oh.
Yo,
Nope.
I got a great idea. Catfish International. Each person's on a different continent.
So people can message when people are sleeping.
Yeah.
Like,
But do you have to say what country you're actually in, or do you catfish what country you're in?
All of the above.
Okay.
it's on the table. It's on the table. Star Trek Picard started last week.
Would you say you're engaged?
I thought the first episode was just okay. Doesn't really compel me, but like I'm interested.
Sure.
Whereas like Star Trek Discovery is really good. Like I would definitely recommend Star Trek Discovery over Picard at the moment. And that's like weird to say when there's a lot of more hype around one than the other.
Did I see in a commercial that Shatner is in Star Trek Picard?
Shatner has not been in Picard yet.
Okay.
And I don't think he is, but I wouldn't put it past them.
I like half saw a commercial was like the commercial that ended. I was like, wait, what's that? So I was.
There's definitely a bunch of cameos.
Yeah.
Well, they had like Data was in the first episode, and there's like clips of other people from other Star Trek shows in like that are coming up on the season.
the season on.
The season on, which was at the end of the episode.
What?
Who does that? Oh, if you are watching Picard, I
Did
would,
Picard get catfished?
Did they bring back forget it.
anyway, if you're gonna watch
Dar. Wait,
it,
no.
if you're gonna watch it,
Dar?
Who's the security officer who dies in season 1 and
Yar.
Yar. Yeah.
Yara.
No, just Yar.
Anyway, if you're gonna watch it, I would recommend watching. There's a Star Trek shorts, and there's one like that like tease up like a big moment before the show. That was really interesting. Anyone else have any plugs? Rob, are you ready for your show to come back on Sunday?
I'm not really ready, but I gotta let it happen.
Are you like still in? Like, are you ready for it to come back? Like you haven't gotten to a point where you're
Might be
missing
too
it.
soon.
It's definitely too soon, but I'll end up watching it. But like, if you're like, it's not gonna come back till September, I'd be like, great. That sounds perfect. But
Well,
it's back, so you gotta do it.
Tasha Yar, that's her name.
Yeah,
She fucked Data in one episode.
She
she
That's
really
weird.
did.
She does come back in TNG though.
She comes back a couple times.
I've only
in
watched
various
TNG
ways.
through season 4, but
Yeah, she comes back later. I totally forgot about that until you brought her up.
She's not on The Masked Singer, or is she?
Ooh, she could be a.
What if
It's
what
me,
if Patrick
Tasha
Stewart's on
Yar.
the Masked Singer to promote Star Trek Picard? How amazing would that be?
I just
Not that amazing.
not amazing.
That'd be so amazing.
New Morteris House is out. It's great. They got an Italian guy on right now.
Does he speak Japanese or is he
Yeah.
just...
Oh, he's a Italian manga artist.
Oh,
He's great. His name's Pepe.
Pepe.
So you aren't here, Max, but I brought that up as a doppelganger that we can do.
Oh, it's the same show.
I know, but
That's the whole point.
It's the same. We did the same show with
Peak
this
of Love
awful
was
show.
the same show.
That's true.
We did it 3 times. It's the same show.
We'll do it a 4th time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can find us on Twitter at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On. You can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.
Here I am.
I am Brian. I am very tall.
Hey guys, it's me, also Brian.
This is not Brian. This is someone else.
Whoa.
Real Brian. What up?